Hair color. We're going to focus on the hair color classifications. Remember, watch the first video that talked about the color wheel under hair color by Keisha Kirby. Hair color comes in two categories. They're generally going to fall into two categories, non-oxidative and oxidative. Your non-oxidative hair colors are going to be your temporary hair color and your semi-permanent hair color, which are traditional. The way to keep this in mind is that your temporary hair color and your semi-permanent hair color are non-oxidative because they do not have to be mixed. They're considered a direct dye that you can use straight out the bottle. Your oxidative hair color are your demi-permanent, which is your deposit only, and your permanent hair color, which it lifts and deposit. Those are oxidative colors because you have to mix them in order for them to be activated to work and change the hair color. All of these products require a patch test with the exception of your temporary hair color. Temporary hair color. Your temporary hair color comes in a variety of colors. It comes in rinses that is applied, that's applied with each shampoo to add color. Then you have your combined mousses, gels, hair mascara, spray-ons, hair colors, and your color enhancing shampoos. These do not penetrate the cuticle hair layer. However, they do coat the hair shaft and they neutralize unwanted tones. So again, your temporary hair color comes in a variety of colors and different products that could be applied. And they do not penetrate the hair cuticle. Again, to reiterate about your temporary hair colors, they could come in many different forms. They could be applied in different ways depending on the products and how you want to use them. They could be colored gels, mousses, foams, or sprays at our workstation after the client has been shampooed. Always use and apply these color products according to the manufacturer's directions. Semi-permanent hair color lasts through several shampoos. 4 to 6, it begins to fade within those shampoos, within the 4 to 6 shampoos. The pigment molecules are smaller. They penetrate the hair shaft and stain the cuticle. Remember, temporary hair color coats the cuticle. Semi-permanent hair color will stain the cuticle. It will stain that cuticle and penetrate through the hair shaft. It's also non-oxidative and it is considered a direct dye because you can directly use it out of the bottle. And it requires a patch test. Temporary hair color doesn't. 24 to 48 hours prior to the application, you must have done the patch test to ensure that the client will not have a bad reaction to the color. And you make sure that when you're doing the patch test, you're using the color that and the brand that you're going to use for that service within the 24 hours that they're going to 24 to 48 hours that they're going to use the hair color. Again, semi-permanent deposits only, and they stain the hair cuticle and they fade within 4 to 6 shampoos. Semi-permanent hair color. Semi-permanent hair colors are only deposit and do not lighten the hair. They only deposit and do not lighten the hair. Remember that color applied on top of existing color always create a deeper color or alter the tone. It can deepen the color or alter the tone. In other words, in order to get some of these fantasy colors like your bold purples and your bold reds and blues and greens and yellow and of course my favorite pink, You always have to lift that hair up to some shade of blonde and then deposit your semi-permanent color on there. It can also be used as a toner. The porosity of the hair will determine how well these products saturate the hair. The traditional semi-permanent color can build up the hair ends with repeated applications. A strand test will help determine the formula and processing time before the existing service. Most of all, this is also one that requires a patch test. It also requires a patch test. Semi-permanent hair color comes in various forms itself. It comes in your creams, your paste, and your liquids in various forms, and they all require a 24 to 48-hour patch test. Demi-permanent hair color or demi-permanent hair color. It deposits color and it does not lift. Less alkaline than the permanent color, commonly known as hair color glaze. A hair color service that adds shine and color to the idea for. Introducing hair color services, blending gray or covering up gray, refreshing faded color or color corrections. Demi-permanents can also be used as toners. Demi-permanents can also use only a 10 volume or less. 10 volume or less. That's what makes it less alkaline than a permanent color because they use 20 volume and above. Semi-permanent hair color is similar to traditional semi-permanent hair color. And again, I am reiterating demi-permanent hair colors. Follow the manufacturer's guidelines. You want to follow that for the application and the processing time by the product that you select. It covers gray hair. It presents special challenges when formulating demi-permanent hair color. The hair color that has previously received a color service will have a greater degree of porosity. Again, demi-permanent hair color, deposit, and it does not lift. Demi-permanent hair color typically comes with its own special developer or activator that will be a 10 volume or less because it's a don't lift, no lift, deposit only. It can come in liquid or creams as well. And it is used also as a toner. And it requires a 24 to 48-hour patch test. Permanent hair color. Permanent hair color is used to match and lighten hair and cover gray. It contains ammonia, oxidative, tints, and peroxide. It requires a 24 to 48-hour patch test before a tint. The alkaline derivatives it contains, you combine H2O2, which is also known as hydrogen peroxide, that has a larger molecules. It removes the natural pigment while adding artificial color, and it is best to cover gray hair. The alkaline derivatives in a permanent hair color, that action, it will penetrate past the cuticle and into the cortex. The alkaline derivatives are uncolored dye precursors, which are very small compounds that can diffuse into the hair shaft. The alkaline derivatives combined cannot be shampooed out because they have penetrated their cortex and now that hair color is permanently trapped and the color is Permanent hair color also comes in liquids and cream forms. You can also add 20 volume to 40 volume peroxide to be able to lift the hair and get the deposit of the color that you're desiring. You cannot talk about a permanent hair color and not mention a soap cap. The soap cap is combined with equal parts of prepared permanent hair color mixture, which is left over, and add shampoo into your mixture using during the 5 minutes of hair color and that last 5 minutes of the hair color service, and add it through the ends to help refresh your ends. And this is what you could call a refresher, is your soap cap that you can use on the ends of your hair color after your permanent hair color touch up or retouch. Now we're going to talk about your metallic hair colors that are sold over the counters in the stores, also known as box colors. They are known as your gradual hair colors. They contain metallic salts that change the hair color gradually by progressive buildup and exposure to air, creating a dull metallic appearance. This is also marketed to men. Remember, metallic salt hair colors are also marketed to men, as well as being sold to over the counter. And they're also known as gradual colors. Then you have what's called your henna hair colors, your vegetable hair colors, that also have its own special way of being mixed. For example, Beijing, you use the water. The other colors, they also have other ways of mixing. You must follow the manufacturer's directions for the colors and any other color at all times. That's what you should do. Follow the manufacturer's direction. And again, all of these require a 24 to 48-hour patch test before using. All of these products that I've mentioned all require a 24 to 48-hour patch test, with the exception of your temporary hair color. That means your semi-permanent hair color, demi-permanent hair color, permanent hair color, metallic salt, and your hennas all require a 24 to 48-hour patch test. Here is your classification chart for how your different types of hair color work and who they're best on and what they'll be able to do. I will leave it, and if you can, pause. This is the last slide. Pause and take notes or read over it to make yourself be familiar with your classifications of the color. This is the conclusion of your hair color classification, and you have learned all about the types and classification of hair color from your temporary to your permanent. Also covering your metallic salt colors that are sold to men and over the counter, as well as your hennas, which are your vegetable colors. Again, I am Keisha Kirby, and stay tuned for my next talk about pre-lighteners and lighteners.